Hello and welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music, and magic. Wait. Stephen's not here. Oh yes, I'm going solo. It's my turn. Stephen's done it a couple of times, so it's my turn to do it. But I'm not really going solo because I have a very special guest, a member of my family. And this is the second guest recording that we've done, albeit you might be the first guest published. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my sister Holly.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Yeah, hopefully people will be able to tell us apart. But we do sound the same, so apologies if you can't.
Yeah, and you get confused at who's talking.
Yeah. It'll just be like listening to me all the whole way through, as if I'm talking to myself. I'll be like Flo.
Yeah. Flo. Hi,
Flo. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this week's episode is a special one, and we are going to discuss someone that me and Stephen have mentioned a few times in the past. And we just feel that before we get to what everyone knows as the Renaissance era, we want to honor this particular person by doing an episode all about him. So this week's episode is about Don Bluth.
Who was a huge part of our childhood. Huge.
Yes, massive. And obviously, when me and Stephen were recording the previous episodes, you know, very early on, we started like reading the credits, and we were seeing the same names.
Yeah.
And we were recognizing them. And then, you know, because they didn't necessarily do the same parts. You know, one minute they were a story person, next minute they were an animator or a visual developer or even a director. And when we first saw Don Bluth's name, it was the same, you know. He disappears and then he comes back, and then we see his name for a bit. And then obviously it goes on his own.
Yes.
So yeah. Right. So yeah, you mentioned that we grew up.
Like I say, huge part of our childhood. I mean, I think we were two of the kids in our school that like even had a video player and had the collection of videos that we had.
Yeah.
And some of the first videos were his movies. Yeah. That was what we had.
Yeah. And like, even like grandma would record if they came on TV.
Yeah.
She had a couple of them that she recorded on video for us.
Yeah. Well, I think Secret of Nymph, we didn't actually have properly on video. I think it was recorded off the TV.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to say. That's the one I remember that I watched at grandma's because she had recorded it off the TV. So yeah. Right. So I've got his I've done a little like mini biography. So I thought I'll read that. And then we can get into all his films that he's done outside of Disney, and I've got some fun facts as well. Okay. So he was born Donald Virgil Bluth, but we all know him as Don Bluth, born September 1937 in El Paso, Texas. And yeah, he's an American filmmaker, animator, and author. He was hired in 1955 by Walt Disney Productions as an assistant to John Lounsbury for Sleeping Beauty. But he left Disney in 1957 because he found the work to be, quote, kind of boring.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, what? Anyway, so then for 2.5 years, so he's left Disney, then for 2.5 years, he resided in Argentina on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I dug deeper, and it turns out, so his maternal grandfather was Ray Pratt from the Pratt family, whose own father, Helaman Pratt, was an early leader in the Church of Latter-day Saints, as well as a grandfather of George W. Romney and, pardon me, great grandfather of Mitt Romney. So his maternal grandfather. So this is his maternal grandfather's family.
Okay.
And when he was 6, he moved to Prasen, Utah, where they lived on a family farm. But
yeah,
I mean, we watched
place for that.
we watched documentaries on that part of the world, and
that's where they are.
That's where they are.
Oh.
So he was in Argentina for 2.5 years, and when he returned to the US, he opened a local theatre in Culver City, Los Angeles, producing musicals such as The Music Man and The Sound of Music. And then he returned to college and earned a degree in English literature. Then in 1967, he returned to the animation industry and joined Filmation, working on layouts for The Archie Show and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then it was 1971 when he returned full-time to Disney as an animation trainee.
Okay.
His first project was Robin Hood, in which he animated the sequence of Robin stealing the gold from Prince John, rescuing the rabbit, and romancing Maid Marian near the waterfall.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he animated those 3 scenes. He also animated on Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. And during the production of Rescuers, Bluth was promoted to directing animator alongside the remaining members of Disney's 9 Old Men.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so him and who was left of the 9 Old Men were in charge of the Rescuers.
Okay.
He then worked as an animation director on Pete's Dragon.
Oh,
and then his last what?
One of my least favorites.
Oh, I know. I don't think Stephen likes it either, but I do. And his last involvement with Disney was a short in 1978 called The Small One. For Fox and the Hound, Bluth animated several scenes of the character Widow Tweed, and it was during this that creative differences occurred between Bluth and executives and concerning artistic control and animation training practices.
How funny. Isn't that the last film that Tim Burton worked on as well?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know.
So there must have been a lot going on at that time.
I know. So yeah, on his 42nd birthday in 1979, Bluth resigned from the studio to establish his own animation studio, Don Bluth Productions, along with Gary Goldman, John Pomeroy, and 9 other Disney animators. Okay. So yeah, so that is a mini biography. To be fair, there wasn't a load more about him. That's all the main bits.
I think probably out of everything you've said, what I'm most surprised about is his age.
I know. And he's still alive.
Yeah, yeah. But just because of the films that we've watched and grown up with, wow, you wouldn't have thought that would have been what he was into.
I know.
So yeah, his age definitely surprises me.
And I read, like, when I was trying to dig a bit deeper, although he's not been quoted as saying it, but apparently his philosophy is that children really can handle anything as long as you have a happy ending.
Oh.
So yeah. I think that's, because his movies, I mean, obviously when we go through the list, they are dark
Yeah.
or have a
Yeah.
dark undertone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they might look bright and colourful, but they have a dark undertone.
Yeah. I mean, I remember two films as a kid that I used to really find hard to watch because I thought they were quite scary and quite grim was Watership Down
Oh yeah,
and Secret and Nymph. I
yeah,
did struggle with Secret and Nymph.
uh,
It was really dark, really
yeah.
dark. So yeah, and yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, right. So his list of films. So I'm going to run through it, and then we can go through them all, in a bit more detail and what we like and whatnot. So starting with, so this is films that he's produced,
Mhm.
and most of them he's directed as well, but they're all produced by him or by his studios
Okay,
because
we're not starting with Disney. This is after Disney.
this is after this is when he goes on his own and he's
Okay.
got his own companies because he has several because they constantly go bankrupt.
Yeah, which I've seen from watching the films. Yeah.
So his first project was called Banjo the Woodpile Cat. It was a TV movie. Never heard of it. I think it was like a short because it's down. It's 1979.
Yeah, no, I don't know
So
that one.
yeah, but yeah, so that's down as his first. But then, as in cinema released, The Secret of Nim is
Yeah.
the first one,
Yeah.
and that was released in 1982, and it's his favorite out of all the ones he's produced.
Oh, well, it is. It's so good.
Yeah,
And it's got a huge following. Yeah.
but you know what I find funny is that he picked a mouse as his first lead character, and he left the mouse as
Yeah.
they were caught.
So
I
maybe
found
it was
that,
like a cruel irony.
yeah. Um, so then after Secret of Nim, we've got Dragon's Lair, the video game.
I do remember this.
Yeah, we had it on the NES, I think.
It was either the NES or it was on that Acorn PC.
Yeah, one of the two. So
But I
19,
do remember that. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
1983 that was released, and then another game called Space Ace. Never heard of it. That was 1983.
Mhm.
Then we've got An American Tale.
Yes. 5
Yeah, which is 1986, and that beat Basil, the Great Mouse Detective.
Ooh, two
Yeah,
mouse films head to head.
I know. And again, he follows with another mouse.
But
He
that
starts with a mouse and then his next one's a mouse.
it's not the first time in history that that's happened with Disney.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's the fact that his first two films are both hits
Yeah.
and they're about mice.
Yeah.
Next, we've got Land Before Time,
Oh yeah.
1988. Then All Dogs Go to Heaven, 1989. Then Dragon's Lair 2, Time Warp, 1991. This might have been the one that we had.
Yeah.
Then Rockadoodle, 1991. Thumbelina, 1994. A Troll in Central Park, but it's also known as Stanley's Magic Garden,
Yeah.
depending on which country you're from.
Yeah.
That was 1994. Then Pebble and the Penguin, 1995. Anastasia, 1997. Bartok the Magnificent, straight to video release, 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Titan AE 2000. Sorry, Titan AE, and it was released in the year 2000. And this is his last
And
film.
I've never watched it. I've never
I
watched
watched it once.
it.
I
Mm-hmm.
think Matt Damon is a voice on it.
Mm.
But it was like CGI. It
Yeah.
was his attempt at CGI animation, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was not good. Then Dragon's Lair 3D Return to the Lair, 2002. And randomly, the animation to the Scissor Sisters, the band,
Oh yeah.
Mary music video
Oh wow.
in 2004.
Yeah, well, he did Xanadu, so he's
Well, yeah.
obviously into that kind of thing.
Well, apparently that's why they asked him,
Oh, right. Yeah.
because they were a fan of that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in development, and apparently it has been in development for a very, very, very long time, is the Dragon's Lair movie.
Okay.
It's currently being crowdfunded, and the latest total is $750,000.
Oh, that's not enough.
No, no. So yeah. So going through the list, I mean, the majority of those, not including the video games,
No, but we've seen them
but
and we had
apart
them.
from that first one,
Yeah, banjo. Funnily enough, when I did look it up, I do recognize like the video shot of
okay.
like I do recognize it. So I don't know if maybe Isabel had it, or I don't know if somebody had it on video, because I'm not sure, but I do recognize it, but I don't remember the film as
Mm,
such.
yeah. No, I didn't. But no, all apart from the video games and that, I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Um, and majority of them, we we had them on video. In fact, we had them all
Yeah.
except Titan and Bartok.
Yeah. We had them all.
Yeah, we had them all on video, and a few of them we've watched. Oh, I don't know how many times,
Yeah.
because they were on just as much as the Disneys.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know how you want to start it, but like I remember being at home with mum and the advertisement came on the TV for Pebble and the Penguin, and we literally got in the car, drove to Asda, and mum bought it on video like there and then, and we hadn't even seen it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I remember her
And we
just
went home
on
and
video.
watched it
Yeah.
and just thought it was brilliant.
I mean, to be fair, we didn't go to the cinema to see any of these.
No, I don't remember them being in the cinema, maybe apart from Anastasia. That's the only one I can remember
But
having.
did we go to see that in the cinema?
I don't know.
I don't think we did. I think it was just a case of mum just bought it when it
Yeah,
came out.
yeah.
Or we must have rented it,
Mm.
because like we had all the merch.
Yeah. I
I mean,
remember having the toys for Thumbelina, and I remember having the toys for Anastasia.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you had the doll.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, most likely like bedding and stuff. We
Yeah.
probably had as well.
Basically a bed set.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a bed set there.
Yeah.
Um, I made a note, funny enough, about Anastasia. I mean, now it's so funny that obviously now that's on Disney Plus, because that was done through Fox.
Yeah.
So now Disney has it. But I found it funny that, because Anastasia's like his biggest hit now.
Mm.
And
So good.
the year that it's made, I thought it was quite funny that it comes off the back of Disney's hit after hit after hit after hit.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney, obviously, in the space of 8 years, we have
Yes, 1989.
we have four princesses.
Mm.
We've got, no, five. We've got Ariel, Jasmine, Belle, Pocahontas, and Mulan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mulan's 98.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was right. Four.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, it comes off the back of four princesses, and which kind of leads me into one of my fun facts,
Mm.
right? Because I do feel like he was like, he could see that Disney was having this success with these fairy tales. And I think, not since American, no, Land Before Time, I think, was his last
big hit.
Big hit. But
yeah.
at the same time, didn't like make money.
No.
Because he went bankrupt like 2-3 times.
And his films were always clashing with something else.
So he must have, whoever put their heads together to decide what the next project was, they must have been heavily influenced by Disney's hits and the fact that they were making money off of fairy tales, and they must have thought, right, what can we do? We need to do a princess because that's clearly the trend.
Yeah. And what a princess to do a movie on.
I know. A real one.
Yeah. Not a fairy tale.
No. And the whole, like, we want to believe that that really happened, and that she didn't die, and that she did find her family. But we don't know. I mean, even to this day, people still believe that she did survive. But yeah, so the fun fact that I thought would lead into, based on that analysis that I have of the fact that his biggest hit is off the back of Disney's hit decade. It's like, right, well, I've done my mouse, I've done my dinosaurs, I've done my magical creatures, I've not done a princess yet. That seems to be making Disney money, so I'm going to do one as well.
Yeah.
An adaptation of Beauty and the Beast was planned to be directed by Bluth in 1984.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the project was cancelled by Columbia Pictures upon discovering that Walt Disney Pictures had plans for their own adaptation. So, back in 1984, Disney had put that forward, as, right, we're going to work on this. This is going to be coming out soon. Let's put this in development. How they found out about, I have no idea, because obviously, like, they didn't have social media or internet like we do now.
Yeah.
So unless they had people whose specific job was to find out who was doing what, so that they didn't do the same.
Something that he'd possibly mentioned when he was still working for them.
Well, apparently it was an idea that Walt Disney had. It's one of the ones that he was put in years and years ago. That was, when he came up with Snow White, Peter Pan, Cinderella, all them. It's same with Frozen. That was in there as well. So yeah, quite possibly working for Disney, he must have remembered, this was in the archives.
Yeah.
This could be one.
But he didn't get to do it, thank God.
I know, because we like it. We like his films.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have then gotten the Beauty and the Beast that we know and love. Yeah. So yeah. So I didn't watch a lot of these films like you have.
I've watched as many of them as I can.
I managed to squeeze in Pebble and the Penguin. That was it. So what ones have you managed to rewatch?
So I started with Pebble and the Penguin.
Right.
And then I watched All Dogs Go to Heaven. And then I watched A Troll in Central Park, Stanley's Magic Garden.
Yeah.
And then I watched Thumbelina. And as I'm talking to you, I have Anastasia on.
Right.
It's on in the background.
Okay. Obviously muted.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have and could not get American Tail, Secret Nymph, or Land Before Time.
Right.
I couldn't get them on anything that I'd watched the others on, and I don't have them on DVD. Oh, and I watched Rockadoodle.
Oh, right. Okay. Was that on YouTube as well?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
managed to watch Rockadoodle,
Right. I might
which
watch that
was
tomorrow.
really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Like, no, like I say it's bad. It's good up until the end
oh,
because it's live action mixed with animation.
oh,
And
yeah.
considering he did that with Pete's Dragon and should have been really good at it, to be fair, it's not good. It's not good. But you know, he like we you might discuss and you might touch on, he was struggling.
Mm,
He was struggling. And it basically he struggles from, I think it's Rockadoodle he struggles from. It's Rockadoodle, Stanley's Magic Garden, Pebble and the Penguin. They are just
yeah.
flops. He's having to hire people in like Hungary to finish off the animation because they just don't have any money.
Mm,
And yeah, he's not got the support of Amblin that he had with Secret and Nymph, American Tail, Land Before Time. And yeah, the animation is not as good. And you can see there's like a struggle
mm.
in the storyline
Yeah.
towards the end.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember I said this to Stephen a few weeks ago, and I think it was I think it was the Robin Hood episode.
Mm.
And apparently, because obviously Rockadoodle is based on Chanticleer,
Yeah.
and Disney tried to develop that.
Yeah.
And the rooster in Robin Hood, I think, is based
Very
off,
similar.
yeah, and is based off an early sketch of Chanticleer.
Mm.
Now, obviously, Don Bluth worked on Robin Hood,
Yeah.
so that could have been how he came about that story, and the fact that Disney never went to go down that road with it, and he must have thought, "Oh, I'll give it a go."
And it's a
Fail.
shame because it is good in the fact that Zach actually sat and watched it from start to finish. I mean, he was glued,
Oh, good.
which I was like, what? And even he was like, is he meant to be Elvis? And I was like, yeah, he's based on Elvis.
Yeah.
And what was the other one he watched from start to finish? He watched what was the first one I said I watched? Pebble and the Penguin. Yeah, he watched that from start to finish and straight away was like, isn't this Happy Feet? And I was like,
Oh,
no, this was actually first.
yeah. This was worse. Yeah. No, I put that on yesterday, and yeah, Finlay kept coming in and was asking me questions.
Mhm.
And like I kept saying, just watch it, you'll find out, just watch it. And was like saying, oh, that's a bad penguin. And yeah.
I think
Uh,
out of all the ones that I've watched, um, leading up to this, the best one has been All Dogs Go to Heaven. That's been the best one.
oh, really?
Yeah, that was so good from start to finish.
See, I put that on for Finn about a month ago because I just randomly found it on Prime.
Mm.
And I struggled a bit with it.
No, I think out
I
of
thought,
them all,
mm,
that's probably been the best one.
okay.
The animation's been good.
Mm,
Obviously, the actors that they got to do the voices are good,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, just the storyline in general is really good, and it's got a bit of a sadness to it as well because like
Yeah.
the girl that did the voice
Oh,
of
I know.
she
Marie.
died before the
Yeah.
film was
Yeah.
released.
Awful.
And she was the voice of the little dinosaur in Land
Yeah.
Before Time as well. Uh,
Ducky.
yeah. So I think it's got like that
Mm.
sort of thing to it. But it's not that Pebble and the Penguin wasn't good, but you can, I don't know, considering I'm not an artist, I don't draw, I'm not an animator, but it's bad how like critical you can be.
Yeah.
And I was sat watching it and thinking, oh God, there was parts of it where it's like, oh, this is not good. Like for the time when animation was really at
Mm-hmm.
its height,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this isn't good. This is quite
Yeah.
bad.
You can definitely tell. I mean, considering how like the difference between his earlier films, so Secret of Nim,
Yeah, it was like he started
American
high,
Tail. Yeah.
just when
Yeah.
like, the quality
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't there, really
No.
wasn't there. And
How I like how we managed to get Anastasia to look the way it does, because that's beautifully animated. I mean,
oh,
it's almost like it's real people,
yeah, and like the
and they've put
detail.
yeah, and they've put like an animation filter over them,
Yeah.
because the the way that they're drawn, their actions are so lifelike, like,
Mhm.
and their facial expressions, like you really believe that that voice goes with that body.
Yeah, so well done.
Yeah, really well done. But it just shows that when he gets money from other people,
Yeah.
that's when he can make the quality really good.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, but apart from the quality of animation, I think like
They're good
the
films. The stories are
stories
great.
are really
Well,
good.
oh,
Yeah,
and the music is, I
yeah,
mean, I knew all the songs.
yeah,
I was like standing in the living room doing my ironing, just like
yeah,
singing away.
yeah.
Couldn't believe that I remembered all the songs, knew them
Mhm.
all word for word. I mean, like Barry Manilow
I know.
writes the songs for Thumbelina and Pebble and the Penguin.
Yeah,
And you can tell because it's got that
yeah,
Barry Manilow feel to it.
it does.
It really, really does. But like even the songs for Stanley's Magic Garden in All Dogs Go to Heaven, really, really like good songs.
Hmm.
Good songs that I remember.
So, out of them all, have you got a favourite?
Um, so I think even though Secret and Nymph obviously is like my earliest memory, I wouldn't say it was my favorite because I remember being quite like uncomfortable with the film. I remember being quite scared of the film,
Hmm.
especially like with the rats in the lab and things like that. But my favorite is probably American Tail.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, definitely American Tail with Five All and
Mhm.
um the cat. Oh, the names aren't coming to me at the minute. Mine's gone blank. Um,
Is it Louis? No.
no,
Um, it's Don DeLuise that plays him. Um,
I'll have to look up the name of the cat, but definitely American Tail. And
yeah.
then probably it would probably then have to be Thumbelina
Okay.
because I love the songs.
Yeah.
And then Anastasia. Yeah, they'd be my top ones, and then all the others just like whatever afterwards. Because I remember not really liking Land Before Time because I just found it too sad. It was just too sad. It was more
Tiger.
Tiger.
Tiger is the name of the cat
Yeah.
from An American Tail.
But yeah, like Land Before Time's just too sad.
Oh,
It's
that Land Before Time, An
it's like
American
Bambi. It's
Tale.
just oh.
Yeah, yeah. Land Before Time, An American Tale. I don't know how I managed to watch them as a kid, because I cannot watch them as an adult without crying.
Yeah.
And I'm not a crier.
No.
But I think it's like the music and remembering like like obviously being around family. I've never watched these with friends.
No.
These were films with family that we watched with grandma or mum. Um, and yeah, and I think especially now I'm a mum. I say
Mm,
now, so I've been a mum for like nearly 10 years, but it struggled to watch for me now.
mm.
Um, you
This
know,
little mouse like all
oh
alone in New York, and you're just
yeah,
like,
yeah, it's awful. But taking that aside, obviously knowing that, Steven Spielberg funded it, and teamed up with them to make this story, now that he is embracing his, Jewish um part of his family. He
mm-hmm.
really goes into that history
Oh
with
yeah,
this film.
yeah.
Um, and again, at the time when we watched it as children, never knew it had anything to do with
No.
that.
I mean,
No,
almost like the song "There Are No Cats in America." It's like
no,
there are no Nazis in America, so
yeah,
that's why we're going to America.
yeah,
It's like, oh,
I know. But we didn't see that when we were kids watching it.
yeah,
We just
yeah,
saw the cute little mice and the fact that it was in New York
yeah.
and the music. And never, but obviously that's just part of growing up, isn't it? You understand more and more,
Mm-hmm.
the undertone.
Yeah.
And that's what I and like, yeah, like in the end, when they finally reunite, I mean, God, I can't even think about that scene without, getting that lump in my
Yeah.
throat. It's
And then run
awful.
into each other.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. So yeah, I really, really struggle to watch those two. But yeah, I mean, Lamb for Time. Um,
His mum dies right at the beginning,
I
and you're
know.
just like, ah,
I remember putting it on for Finlay once a few years ago, and we did like a movie night, and we got like the mattresses down or something, and we put it on, and yeah, and he watched it, but I think he was like 3 or 4. Because I was trying to see if he was going to get into dinosaurs, and he didn't, not really. But yeah, and he was okay.
mm-hmm.
Um, I'd be
And then
interested.
on this quest to find his family, the
I know
same
his
as
grandparents.
he's on
Yeah,
this quest to find his grandparents, and
yeah.
it's meant to be a film about dinosaurs, and it's not.
I know. Um, but yeah, and obviously that song at the end with that Diana Ross sings. Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Well, my favorite, I was trying to think, oh, like, which out of them all, which one can I put on and enjoy, like, and actually sit and watch without looking at my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And one that won't really get me upset or that has a really good story, and it is Secret of Nim.
Yeah. See, I'm surprised at that.
But I
Just
think because it's kind of like uh got like a thrillerness to it.
mm-hmm.
The mystery, the magic, you
Mm.
know, um
Oh, it is
trying
like
to figure
it's
out,
so good.
yeah, trying to figure out who how her husband died,
Mm-hmm.
and this mission to get our house moved.
And to save our son who's sick,
I
and
know.
yeah,
I mean, that could be a live action movie.
yeah,
Or be obviously changed slightly, it wouldn't be mice and rats, it would be, but yeah, the story there with our needing help to move the house because of our sick kids and our husband's died, and it was, the figuring out that our husband was this famous mouse, you
mm-hmm.
know, and it was known among the rats. And yeah,
He'd come
no,
from the lab as well, and
yeah,
just, yeah, really,
and
really
that
good.
he was really intelligent and that he could read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. Like I can put like I want to put it on now, but
Yeah.
the DVD's upstairs, and oh yeah, but I'll definitely be putting that on at the weekend, I think. Um, my second one, like, see when I put on Pebble and the Penguin, like
Hmm.
I was coming out of the kitchen watching bits.
Yeah.
And oh, every time I always forget that it's Martin Short that plays Phoebe's what's his name?
Hubie.
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 Hubie's voice.
Yeah.
Um and obviously you've got James Belushi
Hmm.
and Tim Curry
I know.
as the villain again.
Yeah,
But
he's such a good voice actor.
yeah. So no, I like those two. I like Pebble and the Penguin because of the music.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, I do agree though, the animation, like there was bits in it where it was like, whoa.
It's on the Good Ship Misery where I think it all goes to pot.
Right.
It's on that, and I'm just like, no, you've lost me. You've lost
Yeah,
me now. But
yeah.
then as soon as that bit was over, like I was back.
Right.
But that whole bit was
Okay.
just ugh, not good.
And obviously I do like Anastasia,
Yeah.
but it's weird because it's hard to believe that it's made by the same,
Oh, because it's just so different.
so different. And it's it doesn't look like a Disney because of how it was drawn. I
Mm.
must admit, at least it is on its own.
Hmm.
I know other people, who maybe don't watch Disney and that as much as we do, would say, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, I thought it was a Disney film," and that has been, you know,
Yeah, and even though you want to hit them and be like, no,
no.
it's not Disney.
But then when you turn around and say it's a Don Bluth film, they're like, "Who the hell is Tom Bluth?"
You're just like, oh, get out my face.
Yeah. Didn't get much people asking for Anastasia when I worked at Disney, I must admit. But
You did get Shrek.
I did get Shrek, yeah. But no, it's weird that it's a Don Bluth, because yeah, it's very, very, very different to the rest. Um, right, so my other facts,
Hmm.
right? There's not many, it's only like five. Um, so the animation facility operated in Van Nuys, California, but later moved to Dublin, Ireland to take advantage of government investment incentives.
Okay.
So yeah, and like I think it's at the start of Pebble and the Penguin. It says Don Bluth Ireland Studio,
Yeah.
something like that. Um, yeah. So we mentioned earlier he teamed up with Steven Spielberg to make American Tail. At the time of its release, became the highest grossing non-Disney animated film, grossing $45 million.
Wow.
Over 84 million worldwide. And then Land Before Time was also with Spielberg, but they were literally back to back.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel, however,
Five
to
Goes
American
West.
Tail, Five Goes West, had nothing to do with Don Bluth.
Yeah.
That was Spielberg on his own. He did that.
I
Uh,
liked Five Goes West.
yeah, I
Oh,
I like that. I mean, the DVD I've got is a double, so it's both films. I think they did make a third, but
don't know.
yeah.
Because
And
they did
same with
sequels to Land Before Time and All
oh,
Dogs
I
Go to
think
Heaven.
I think Land Before Time is on number 20,
Oh God.
and I'm sure they've done a series as well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But that is still going. Like that is still running. But he has nothing to do with that.
No.
But obviously that's because he teamed up with Spielberg, and Spielberg must have taken the rights to both those and he's obviously given Land Before Time to whoever it is that's churning out those movies. Yeah. But luckily, people do remember the original.
Yeah.
Well, those that are our age, anyway. And remember us having up to 5 on video.
Oh no.
But I think by the time it got to number 6, we were no longer interested. We'd moved on. We were,
watching Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure.
Yeah. Higher quality sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2020, Bluth launched a new animation studio called Don Bluth Studios.
Ooh.
His goal is to bring a renaissance of hand-drawn animation in the belief that there is an audience demand for it. His first project is called Bluth's Fables, an anthology of short stories written, narrated, and drawn by Bluth. As far as I know, they're not
pursuing this.
Yeah. No, they're not like released in the theaters or anything. And I think it's all via YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I need to look that up.
Yeah. That's it. That is all the facts. I did write a little side note, because I was looking back at some of me and Stephen's like other episodes that we've done, and I was listening to a bit of the Black Cauldron, and I forgot that I had talked about Don Bluth on that. And I'd said to Stephen that if Don Bluth had made the Black Cauldron, it would have been better.
Oh god, yeah, 100%, because that's so up his street as well.
Yeah. And especially when he was already going down the medieval road with this Dragon Slayer video game. And I think he obviously wasn't afraid to take that dark story. And like he apparently believes, as long as you give the audience a happy ending, there's no reason why you can't show a bit of, sadness or darkness. Yeah.
I mean, we're such huge fans of the Black Cauldron and always have been.
But yeah, I mean, when obviously me and Stephen talked about the Black Cauldron and we went through all the issues that they had, yeah, like to me, it could have been, if Don Bluth had either stayed at Disney or if he'd thought to do that project, I think he would have made it better, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't right for Disney to do.
No, I don't think there was
ready like that.
Something like that.
No. Not sure if they would do well with it now, even. But, and I also think as well, like reading the list of the films that we've gone through, and that, yes, like we said, we've got An American Tale, which is about immigrants, and that whole story that millions have people that resonate with millions of people who have had to immigrate from their home country because of
persecution or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
It's a very relatable story for today.
Yes. and then you've got Land Before Time, dealing with death, Secret of, and again, having to, change, growing
And
up, moving. Yeah.
that's all in Land Before Time because he's moving to like go and find his
Yeah,
family.
somewhere that he's never known, that he's
Yeah.
only heard about, or heard stories about. Um, what else have we got? We've
And yeah,
got,
like you were going to say, like Secret and Nymph obviously touches on, well, animal testing.
yeah, and again, the fact that mice and rats, you assume that they would get on and they don't.
No.
And it's just, again, it could be perceived as, different races like we go through now,
Yeah.
and how, yeah, that's,
And it's to do with a single mum, like fighting for her family.
yes. And then we've got All Dogs Go to Heaven, death.
Yeah.
Um, what else have we got? We've got what other dark? I mean, Thumbelina is the story is quite dark anyway because of the people that she meets.
Yeah, and it's the fact that these three horrible creatures all want to marry her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a frog, a
Yeah.
mole,
Yeah.
and the beetle guy.
And that
And
you're hoping that, she doesn't get forced into these relationships,
yeah,
and that she does find the fairy prince,
yeah, it's all about her. She doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
So she's trying to find her place and she's found her place, but it's literally taken away from her.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So, yeah. So based on like just a couple of those few of those examples that we've said, um, you know, it's stories that possibly like Pixar
mm,
would maybe touch on. Pixar's always got a bit of a dark undertone or a moral.
and they're risk takers.
Yeah. But obviously he did it first.
Yeah.
And I think, it's like none of these stories I would have, can imagine Disney doing. But
No,
I
because
could imagine, yeah, and I could imagine Pixar doing.
mm-hmm.
And that's what separates them. They have a tone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, looking back, obviously we have such fond memories.
Mm.
Like that run that obviously people would say is where he doesn't do so well. I mean, I remember when they all came out on video, we had all those videos, we watched them all, we enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, okay, now we're growing up and we've got rewatched them, we can see, oh God, yeah, there's difference.
Well, it's when I think the 90s is a bit of a hard one because the quality leading up was so good and the stories were so good. And I feel, yes, obviously Disney had its renaissance starting from Little Mermaid, and I'm not disputing that. But when you really look at the animation and when you look at the quality as well of the voice actors, it's not what it was before and it's not what it is now. There definitely was a struggle in the 90s, I feel. The quality wasn't as good. They didn't have the backing of, like I say, the voice actors. They'd have somebody voicing, but then they'd have somebody, none of those Disney princesses are singing. I think it's only Belle and Ariel, but all the other ones, it's different people that are singing for them. I definitely think there was this rut in the 90s where it really wasn't that good, but that was what we grew up with, and we made the best of it. And
Are you
we
meaning the Don Bluth films?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like the quality of what
yeah.
was there out with
Mhm,
Disney really wasn't that good when you
mhm,
look at it now. And I mean, even though we loved them, that was what we grew up with. We didn't really know much different. You know, that was the movies that were coming out at the time. But compared to what's been coming out now and what came out before, the quality and the story lines are definitely better.
mhm.
Definitely better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sad that, you know, even after, he had such a good start,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, with Secret of Nim, American Tail, and then Land Before Time.
But he
And
didn't.
then,
He butted heads with the people that he was working with.
well,
So
yeah,
he,
that's what I was going to say. He
yeah,
clearly struggles working alongside other people out with his little circle. I mean,
mm-hmm,
that Gary Goldman is with them from day one and was with them all the way to the end, like up till Anastasia, I think.
mm-hmm,
Oh, pardon me. But yet, you know, he could have been that he didn't really know how to run a company like financially, and
mm-hmm.
that could have been the reason as well why it struggled. Because the stories were there,
Yeah,
like he had really good stories,
yeah,
and if you take away Disney, he had probably the best stories that were coming out because in the 90s everyone was starting to animate their films,
yeah.
because we had the Prince of Egypt, that was DreamWorks.
And I mean,
um
20th Century Fox had already done like Fern Gully, and I mean, we loved Fern Gully. That
yeah,
was, I don't know how successful it was, but I remember we loved it.
yeah, but he definitely, in terms of stories, I think had really good and original ones as well.
Yeah,
Like Stanley's Magic Garden, Pebble and the Penguin. I mean, they're so different.
yeah,
And it's such a shame that, he didn't have marketing money.
mm-hmm.
Because I've seen loads of those TikToks, where people say, oh, comment if you remember this film, or most people don't know this film, but I grew up watching it. And it'll be something like Stanley's Magic Garden or Rockadoodle or Cats Don't Dance. Remember
Oh,
that
loved
one?
Catch Will Dance.
Yeah.
Loved that film. So good.
I don't know, I can't remember who it was that did that, but obviously it's not a Don Bluth. So, but it was that time
Yeah.
where all these, animated movies were either coming straight to video,
Mm-hmm.
or there was more options for animated films in the cinema. You weren't just going to see a Disney film. You had other options. But yeah, and
But
it's just
Disney
such
were
a
just
shame
trumping it
that
every time.
yeah, that
And these
either
films just weren't getting a chance.
he clearly didn't have good people to run the business, and he clearly possibly butted heads
Mm-hmm.
with people. Um, and I think it is quite sad that they're still trying to get this live action Dragon Slayer movie made.
Yeah. He's
Um,
obviously still a very determined man.
yeah, but he's still going. I mean, born in 1937. What is he?
83?
83, is it?
Yeah. 84. So he'll be 90 in 2027. So he's 87.
Yeah, he's 87. That's it. Yeah. So he's 87. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you know, he was fighting against Disney the same time as, a lot of the others were, like Jim Henson, Tim Burton, they were all trying to do it. And yeah, even though we've seen them all and we love the films, there's so many people our age that don't. And like you
Yeah.
say, we didn't watch them with our friends. We didn't go to the cinema to see them with our friends. We watched them with our families.
No, and from our memory, a lot of them didn't even go to the cinema.
No, they
Um,
were straight to
they
video.
just were, yeah, straight to video, I think, in the UK. But that
And
could have
again, I
just
think that was
been,
a very 90s thing.
yeah,
So many films were just straight to video or were like TV exclusives.
yeah. I mean, I think as well, like because of the wait for a film to come to the UK,
Mm-hmm.
and we now know that obviously cinemas have to pay for a certain amount of screen time in order for them to make money from screening the film. And I guess a lot of these animated films, it was just a case of no cinema wanted to really spend money on trying to release that. So it just
No.
went straight to video.
And again, like what they were competing with. Don Bluth was competing not only with Disney, but he was competing with Spielberg, and all the Jurassic Parks were out in the 90s.
Yeah,
So there just wasn't any room
no,
for these films.
no,
But
no. And obviously, Toy Story came out in 95.
yeah,
So Pixar came in,
and the game.
right at the time when, Pebble and the Penguin came out. There was no way that was going to beat
No,
Buzz and Woody.
no, no.
So, and yeah, I mean, luckily he had one last hurrah, and Anastasia, was a hit. And luckily, 97. I mean, I was 11, you were 6, going on 7. No, 7, going on 8. Um, it was still a time where, like we mentioned earlier, he could make money off of the merch.
Yeah. Oh, merch was so big.
Yeah.
Like
And we did
tops,
have
leggings,
Anastasia
capes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, like other people we knew had seen Anastasia. It was one of those films where, oh yeah, our friends at school had seen it, you know. And even now that it's on Disney Plus, luckily, I mean they've done like an adaptation for Broadway. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened to it, but I have heard like samples on YouTube and TikTok of, you know, theatre actors performing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what happened to it going full on Broadway like the Disney musicals. Maybe Disney might do something with that. I don't know.
Well, everything that they buy, they definitely use it to its full potential. So
Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, I remember when they bought Fox, everybody was like, "Oh my God, Anastasia's finally a Disney princess," and
I know. Like, no,
it's like, no,
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 it's
she's
not the
not.
same. No, it's not the same. But it
No.
is a shame that they've not. Although, no, did they do like Shop Disney special edition merch?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Don't
But I
know.
remember, when the film did come out, yeah, I remember the dolls
Yeah,
because I had them. I think I had her in like 3 different outfits.
yeah, you definitely had the yellow dress.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
had her in her, homeless outfit.
yeah, and I think you had her opera outfit, the navy.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I think
definitely had like 3 versions of her.
yeah. And did you have the dog as well?
Yeah, Puka. And
Uh,
you pressed his belly and his ears
Here's
flapped. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
yeah.
that.
Oh, but yeah.
That was when those toys, like you remember Flubber, when you
Yeah, I've still got it. I've still
yeah,
got that flubber, although it
it's
doesn't make
just
any noise
it
now.
doesn't work. But yeah, those toys were all the rage. All the rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pressed his belly because I remember he wasn't cuddly because he had all these wires and everything in
Okay.
him. He wasn't a cuddly teddy. Um, and you pressed his belly and his ears flapped. I think he got sold at the car boot. Yeah, he wasn't like a favorite for long.
Oh, poor Puka.
He wasn't cuddly. He wasn't cuddly.
No, no. Oh well. Right. Well, we're coming to the end. We've done all the facts. We've done our little mini biography. We've listed all the films. We've said our favorites. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of glad that he left Disney.
Yeah,
I don't know what. Well, the thing is, I think based on his personality and who he fell out with when he did leave, there's no way he would have lasted when Eisner and Katzenberg and Schneider came in to um, into play, and they come in '84, which me and Stephen are now, getting to their obviously successful point. But
mm-hmm.
when they first came into the company, um, because of the changes that they made, in particular with the animation department, Don Bluth would have left then anyway. There's
Yeah.
no way he would have worked with them.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just a shame that he didn't have um this, he's not still, out there and trying to make animated films. Um and yes, I appreciate that he's trying to give life or continue life with hand drawn animation. Um, he clearly doesn't want to enter the CGI animation and whatnot. But yeah, I just hope that, especially now we know how old he is, that he doesn't, uh, there's no like public embarrassment or anything. I feel like
Yeah.
this them trying to get money for this Dragon Slayer movie. It's a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. He needs to
Um,
just be um happy and content with what he's put out there.
yeah,
And
and luckily because of the internet, and
because
because
of
like
people like us, his
yeah,
stuff will live on.
and he's still remembered.
Yeah.
People still know the name, albeit it's our age and older. There's not really much, younger than your age that would know him. I mean, like, yeah, like Lauren. I think I think she knew of Anastasia.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh,
she would.
I think she knows about like I think she'd heard of Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven, but see the rest, I don't think she would have watched the rest or known about the rest. And
She
I
was probably brought up with Land Before Time 6.
yeah, possibly because of how
You
younger she
know,
is.
Littlefoot is trying to find his great great grandparents. That's the one she's been brought up with.
Oh.
She was brought up with Scamp's Adventure. And Little Mermaid 2, you know, what is it? Melody's song or whatever.
His daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Oh,
ones that she's been brought up with.
yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, Melody. And you're like, no,
Yeah. And
no,
it's like,
that's
no,
not the
we're speaking about Don Bluth. Who's Don
Yeah.
Bluth? Yeah.
See,
No.
we're sad that way that, you know, we know the directors, we know the writers, we know the animators, but it's because that's just what we're into.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just,
We know the
yeah.
people that write the music. We like to know who did the voices, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, me, you, and Stephen. We're terrible for while we're watching. We're on IMDb.
Oh, so bad for it.
Yeah. Stephen will be Googling. I'll go on IMDb. You'll go on IMDb.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no. Right. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, no, I think that was a really good one to touch on because yeah, he was a big part of our childhood and his movies were so good. And yeah, let's just hope that people continue to watch them and love them like what we did and maybe not
Yeah.
be as critical.
Yeah, and it kind of like it's like the last like sort of episode really to end the era that me and Stephen have just finished
Yeah.
because he was still in there, albeit early on, and he left. But with what he then went on to do, I just felt that yeah, we needed to do an episode about him, and it maybe there'll be people that oh, I didn't realize it was the same guy that did Land Before Time and Stanley's Magic Garden, or
yeah, and people will rewatch them. You know, you
yeah.
can get these films on YouTube, like you say. Some of them are on Prime, or you might have them hidden away on DVD somewhere.
And we know that 2 of them are on Disney Plus, Thumbelina and Anastasia.
And Anastasia. I think Titan AE is actually on there as well.
Oh, right, okay, that's 3 then.
So,
But
yeah,
you don't
or
to suffer, Holly.
Get that video player out. Dust off those videos. No,
right, well,
for inviting me on. I really enjoyed it and watching the films as well.
Good. I'm glad. Well, I'm sure we'll have you on again. Maybe the next time Stephen will be with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm into.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow us on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and you can also listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And we shall see you again soon. Well, not see you, but you'll hear us again soon. And we're getting ever so close to the Renaissance era. So if you're not following us already, please hit the follow button, subscribe button. Remember and give us 5 stars if you really like it, and leave a review. And yeah. So, au revoir. TFN, as Stephen would say. Toodaloo.